Good morning, everyone. When Sven called me and asked me if I could come here and talk to you guys about e-commerce, he said to me, please, Alain, don't go like 40,000 feet in the air. Keep it simple, but try to light a few fires in the room. So, all right, I'll try to do that. So the first thing I went to is trying to find new stats, very recent surveys that have been done worldwide on B2B businesses. And about 35% of those businesses were in the overall construction business. So it might apply, it might not, but one thing for sure, stuff is moving. Over 3,000 CEOs were asked, and 99% of them said that digital is disturbing the marketplace everywhere. So I'm going to give you a few pointers here and there, and probably some small steps to start thinking about e-commerce. And just before I go right into the presentation, I just want to learn who I'm talking to. So right now here, who is on the web somehow doing business, either bringing clients in, so doing e-marketing? Anyone? Okay. And who is doing sales? Oh, that's pretty good. So I have people that are already there. So you're at the forefront. You're at the forefront. Okay, so if I look at this, here's how it goes. There's about 40% of the business out there that are using e-commerce that I've seen a hike in sales and a hike per sales rep. A big difference, big jump. 40% target new audiences and they sell to those new audiences. 40% have gone with new products on new markets faster using e-commerce. If I go into the 50% now, 50% of them saw greater efficiency in the supply chain. So for you guys, it's very important. 71% of these companies have an e-commerce site, and 95% of those who were surveyed plan to integrate at least one system in the chain. Globally, they found out that the clients were much more engaged, so it's very interesting for sales. And downside, they have to change the way the supply chain works sometimes. So when we think about it, commerce is a combination of marketing and sales. E-commerce, it's the same. It's a combination of e-marketing and e-sales. And the easy part is the e-marketing, because it can bring so much to the sales team. And one thing you have to remember, in B2B, the relationship is of the utmost importance. I just came back from a big conference in the States, the B2B Marketing Exchange. Forrester was there with their new research on B2B. And what they said, as far as Salesforce is concerned, the Salesforce everywhere will be dwindling, but those who stay will make even more money because they will have to be higher touch and higher knowledge. Because our clients are doing up to 75% of the job by themselves, going on your websites and your possession online, understanding what you have to sell, what you have to offer, and they do that by themselves. They get real educated, not only on your site, but on your competitors' sites, and then they will ask to see your sales rep. And he better be prepared, because he's going to have very, very precise questions to answer. And everything that Claude went through earlier is even more important than ever. All right? Price and availability when it comes to e-commerce is like taken for granted. All right? So here's what basically that survey said about what the clients were looking for. The clients were looking for flexible payment options. They were looking for customized content. They were looking for after-sales cares. Right now, if I look into the future, when we think about artificial intelligence, when we think about big data, when we think about machine learning, in the B2C world, if you ever chat online with a business, you might think you're talking with someone. there's a pretty good chance you're talking to a robot. Artificial intelligence is there already in what we call chatbots. Look for them coming up, creeping up in your Facebook Messenger very soon when you try to buy something through Facebook. You won't be talking to an individual. You'll be talking to a machine without noticing it. And basically, there's only trigger points that will bring a human in. But probably like 85% of the transaction will be done with a machine, and you won't even notice it. So look for that. On your part, what you're looking for, people like you are looking for when they do e-commerce is supply chain management and stock level management. This is the big thing. So basically, we're aiming at an order management system to creep up in the system. The other thing is the integration of process from ordering to delivery and fewer lost orders. That's the big part of e-commerce. What happens also is the upside on that is revenues are high, margins are higher, direct contact with the clients much faster, and it's going to allow you to keep up with the leaders in the market right now. The downside of it, of course, there's a cost for implementing all those techniques, and there's a shortage of skills because the schools right now crank out lots of graduate on e-commerce, but most of them are aimed at B2C and not at B2B. So there's a lot of training that you have to do at your own pace, at your own place. And when I do have to work out a strategy for clients in a B2B2C world, which is a lot of case for you guys, you really have to talk and think about how your distributors will receive the fact that you're starting to sell online. Will they get the feeling they get bypassed? So you really have to work that in the strategy to make sure that you won't get some backlash from your distribution. Those are all the building blocks. I won't go through all of them. And before you start to hit me with a bunch of 2x4s, it's called building blocks. So you don't have to start building a mansion. You can start with a shack in the woods. But these are things that you will need along the way to really set up a system that works. Do you notice there's one thing missing there? And I did that on purpose. What's missing? There's no website. I did that on purpose because your website is the hub. Everything will come around before and after whatever you set on the website. Your website should be a marketing machine. It should be a war machine. It should bring in leads for your sales force. If you can't put a number on the number of sales that your that your website provided, your website is not okay. It's just an electrical business card. Normally, a good website will provide at least leads for the workforce. That's step one. After that, you can think about selling online. So it started with EDI in 75, and right now it's more than a website. It's really an ecosystem that you're trying to put in place. And I'll circle back to e-marketing and e-sales. The easy part, like I said earlier, is the e-marketing part. Try to put in place stuff that you'll be able to measure, you'll be able to optimize. Because the thing with marketing, it's not supposed to be an expense. It's supposed to be an investment. The only time where it's an expense is when you're trying something. You're testing, A/B testing. And finally, when at a certain point, for each dollar that you invest in your e-marketing, you get $1.50 back or $2 back, budget is not an issue anymore. So basically, as far as spending, you're spending to test something, to test a campaign, to test a way of bringing people in for your sales force. I've put on some of the slides examples of e-commerce is wide. Like the first one that I've put there, which is Western Heritage. Western Heritage is a small firm in the States in a very rural area. And for them, the important part, what they did is they came up with an app that allows them to track whatever is going on from the development to the production to the delivery and the after-sales service, the way the things are installed at the final clients. So it's a B2B2C. But the app that they came up with allows them to track, so they control quality better at the end, and they control the supply that's coming in at the beginning. For them, that's where the winning strategy was. So they didn't go like full e-commerce, I'm going to sell online site. It was really about one thing that they wanted to do, is control the supply. And since they're in a rural area and most of their clients are urban, they wanted to know what happened, and this way they controlled the quality of what they put out. Something else on there is dragging online. Remember that number. By 2020, over 50% of the workforce are going to be millennials. These are the ones, our teens from a few years ago, if you're my age, that spent so much time on YouTube. They do have the same habit when they're on the workforce. And basically, they want to have the same experience. Philip said it when he came on stage a minute ago. As a consumer, we're used now to a certain degree of interaction when we buy something online. And it's a seamless experience from one platform to the other. Now, these guys and these girls are in a position to influence the buyers. What are they looking for? They are looking for information on the same sites. They want to start on YouTube and finish on Facebook and finish on your site and go back to Twitter and see something on LinkedIn, and that's where they get their information from. So we have to go back there and be sure to be there. And if you're not there, you're punished in a way, because these guys and girls that do the research for their bosses won't find the information because you're not there, so you won't even get to the sales because you won't be there as far as recommendation. Hey boss, look at these. I found that online. I found this video. I found this piece of information, that white paper, this webinar. That's what they're looking for. If you're not there, you're losing sales. You're leaving money on the table. Barrette Structural is a client at Exo. And I'll only tell one thing. They were selling a lot of joists here in Quebec. And it didn't work in New England, the New England area. And they didn't know why. I won't tell you exactly what we did, but basically, by using offline marketing, traditional marketing, we sent postcards to architects' firms to bring them online on one specific landing page per state. We had 4 different states, so we had 4 different landing pages for the architect firms from those states. And in 5 months, we generated 800 qualified leads for the workforce. 3 years from then, they're still working that bunch of leads. So in this case, it was just having landing pages. It wasn't a full e-commerce site, but they were doing e-commerce because they were there doing something online. And in their case, it was landing pages. Thanks. So 1, 2, 3 simple things. The first thing is make sure you know your why you want to do e-commerce. So just like I said, because people are going from B2B to B2C, and your what's in it for you is there. unifying e-commerce, connect to your ERP, setting up for the Internet of Things that is coming around the corner. You can run A/B testing so you know where your money is going as far as marketing. Second step, make it easy. Make it from their perspective. What you have there, Arvestia, is a lumber yard, and they're specialized in wood procurement. Their clients, 80% of their clients are guys over 60 years old. We're not talking crazy about internet here. But what they did is they started having alerts on text messages for their phones. And those guys, those over 60-year-old guys, love it when they receive an alert on their phone from Arvestia, and those guys shorten their sales cycle by a huge amount of days because of that. The third step is make sure you have something to promote online that is different. All right? So it can be an upsell kit or a cross-sell kit, depending on what you're selling. It's a really good way to push your end-of-life products, by the way. You can even have your own award ceremony. In the Crystal Cabinets, every year, they do a big thing about giving awards for designer using their own material. It gives them the opportunity to get in contact with the best designers in the States because of that. So, 1, 2, 3. So I'll finish with this one. Basically, the selling part here is to have the story on why you have to move and why you have to act now. So make sure you follow something along these lines. What are you doing it for? Why are you doing it for? What are you going to be doing? Why not? If you're not doing it, what's the obstacle? What's the hurdle you have to overcome? Think about that one first hurdle to overcome. How will you do it? If you don't do it, what are you bound to lose as far as sales, clients, markets? Think about that. What are you leaving on the table? And if you do, what's there to gain? Finally, what's your main challenge? And I challenge you to think about what you can do to move in that realm of e-commerce now. Thanks.
Est-ce qu'il y a des questions pour Alain? Any questions for Alain from the audience? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
E-marketing. Do we teach a lot of e-marketing in Quebec or not?
There's a lot of e-marketing being taught in business schools at every level. The main problem that we have is that basically they are taught, they learn about B2C marketing, B2C e-marketing. The techniques are the same, okay? They will use the same tools. Basically, the shopping carts are the same, the email automation is the same, the CRMs are the same, but the way you fill them up, the way you use it, is quite different. Solely because in B2C you deal with one individual that usually takes his decision right now. In B2B, it's long, there's many people, it takes time. You have to take care of branding, not as far as the image is concerned, but the relationship between you and your prospect that lasts for 6 to 8 months, and they will come in from different platforms, talking to different people. You have to make sure that the message is the same everywhere. So the challenge are much bigger, and they have to go from what they learn in school to something else when they get in your business.
Yeah, but I know there's a lot of people in the industry doesn't work nothing on the e-commerce actually. So they have to start somewhere. They need someone who know about e-commerce.
Yeah.
So they have to go to the university or where they will find the people to work with them.
That's one way to do it. I wouldn't start with a graduate diploma specialized in B2C if your business is totally B2B. You can hire a digital agency like ours. There's many out there. There's not that many that are specialized in B2B though. And what we do sometimes for our clients, in our case, we're doing outsourcing. So we're the marketing department of our clients 60 to 70% of the time. And what we do is we will ask them to hire someone to be our touch point. And basically we will train that individual to become self-sufficient in the company where it is. And with time, our part is declining, and they become more and more independent from us.
Une autre question? Ouais.
I got a quick question about a typical B2B transaction. The scale of the monetary amount can be excessive
Staggering.
for it. You know, it's higher than the credit limit on my credit card. So,
Yeah.
how do you handle the transaction? How do you actually handle transferring the money? Or what's your experience so far?
I haven't been, to be honest, in a situation where the transaction, the money transaction, the final sale was to a degree where you have to go through a special bank system or something. The case I work with are basically long. The amount of money is quite important, but the final sale is made by an individual. And what will happen is they will buy some stuff online that is either upsells of cross-sells of the main thing that was sold. And that's my experience right now. So I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what are the best ways. If your average sellout is, I don't know, $2 million, I wouldn't be able to right now to tell you what's the best way to do it.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions? Parfait. Moi, j'en aurais eu plein, mais on va essayer de respecter le temps. Il va falloir qu'on se book un rendez-vous. J'aimerais peut-être rajouter un point à la question de monsieur, où on les trouve. Là. Moi, je peux vous parler de l'expérience. On engage des étudiants, puis ils sont pas mal plus sharp que nous. On était à leur âge, puis on a beau dire tout ce qu'on veut à propos des milléniaux. Ils sont très savvy, ils connaissent tout ça rapidement. Moi, ce que je trouve, la valeur ajoutée qu'on va chercher avec des étudiants, elle est énorme, puis elle coûte pas très cher. En tout cas,